There's sometimes in the heat of the moment, if you get a dog bite, you immediately call animal control and then they show up. And maybe by the time they show up, you've changed your mind and you actually don't want to go to court and you don't want to press any sort of charges. And then that's when we'll just counsel the dog owner. So really what defines a dangerous or vicious animal depends on every situation. It's different.
Jason Samuel Proctor was convicted of domestic assault in the second degree, recklessly causing serious physical injury to ER by agitating a dog, it was specifically a pit bull named Savage, in close proximity to ER while ER was holding their 4-month-old son, BP. He lit fireworks and threw them outside, and this was defendant's dog, and there was other testimony that the defendant knew that fireworks would agitate the dog and that the dog would go after the firework, attack fireworks when he came into contact with him. The dog grabbed onto her calf, took her to the ground, and wouldn't let go. I don't know if you know much about pit bulls, but once they lock their jaws, it's very hard to get them to let go. Where the pit bull got a hold of the victim's calf and basically tore it to shreds. I can't describe it any better than that. It was a mess. It required a bunch of plastic surgery, a bunch of rehabilitation. There's still scars today. At that point, the pit bull runs away and is not seen until animal control shows up and takes control of the pit bull. Mm-hmm. So
the ordinance with the county, we have no legal ability to take possession of the dog unless it has been bitten, or not it has been bitten, until the dog has bitten someone else. Then we can take possession of the dog, but we can only house it in the Humane Society or the vet's office for 10 days at the owner's expense. It's not quite as lenient as the city ordinance is, or not as strict, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it.
Our contract with animal control stipulates that we care for, feed, and shelter the animal. So if the animal has any veterinary needs, we take care of all the animals in our care.
Mm-hmm.
So if a judge decides that the animal must be euthanized, the owner can appeal that decision, but the judge usually looks at the bite itself, any sort of previous history with that animal. So when we get the complaint, like I said, we look through the records. And then they also will look at the circumstance at hand. So what was that situation? Take into consideration all of the witnesses that were there. And they really look at the whole picture. And so it's really situationally dependent on whether the judge decides that that dog is unsafe and has to be euthanized for the public health.
Mm-hmm. And so the dog is held.
Another way you can commit domestic assault in the second degree is by using a dangerous instrument, causing physical injury with a dangerous instrument. We thought about charging it that way, but in this case I don't think it fit because a dangerous instrument is an object like this chair. If I picked up this chair and did something bad with it, that's a dangerous instrument. Here, it wasn't that the defendant picked up the dog and struck somebody with it. He knew what his dog was like. He agitated his dog with the intent, I believe, and I think the jury agreed with me, to have the pit bull strike her. Mm-hmm. And at some point during the pendency of the case, I'm not sure exactly what point, I don't make those decisions, but at some point the dog was put down. And that was something between animal control and the dog owner.
I think with any incident like that is very impassioned. People love their pets. That's a member of their family. And so it's really emotional for, all parties involved. And I don't think any owner would like to believe that their dog had bit someone or caused somebody else harm. And so I think there's always going to be an emotional factor that comes into that. Myself personally, I think it's fair to say that with every case, every bite case, there's always some, emotion and some heart and some impassioned feelings.
Mm-hmm. And then
The owner of the dog, he was arrested that day and charged with domestic assault in the second degree and endangering the welfare of a child. And domestic assault was that the allegation was that he recklessly caused serious physical injury to ER by agitating a pit bull in close proximity to ER. So it wasn't charged that he told Savage to attack her, but that he created the situation and disregarded a known risk. I believe he got 13 years total. And part of that is because domestic assault in the second degree is a C felony, which is a range of punishment from 0 to 7 years. He was a prior and persistent felon, which bumps the range of punishment up to maximum of 15 years. Charge it as that defendant knowingly caused serious physical injury or caused physical injury by use of a dangerous instrument, because it's one step removed. The defendant did things knowing that the dog would react or hoping the dog would react in a certain way. It wasn't quite to the level of Savage, sicker. That wasn't the testimony. It was sort of one step removed from that, in my opinion. And that's